Hey, I'm Beatrice, I'm the anti-plastic lady, and here is your anti-plastic guide to cookware. I'm going to break down what the different kinds of cookware are, like which are proven to be safe, and then which materials are not. There's two main categories of cookware out there. There's basically non-stick, and then there's basically everything else. I really hate this duality. Non-stick comprises of basically Teflon coated pans, and then there's ceramic non-stick, which is like Caraway, Our Place, all of those like influencer brands. I don't trust either. I'm going to go into that in a second. But aside from nonstick, that basically just leaves everything else. And this duality was basically created by nonstick marketing, right? And it makes it seem that like all of the other stick brands are really, really difficult to take care of and difficult to clean. That is just not true. So I'm going to start out with the ones that you probably know the most, and then I'll get to the nonstick. Number one, you're going to have stainless steel. This is probably the most well-known, and it's super non-toxic, going to last forever. It's great. The only issue is that some kinds of stainless steel can have nickel, and some people are allergic to that. However, there's lots of brands that are nickel-free, going to last you your entire lifetime. And in general, you really shouldn't be cooking food on anything that you wouldn't be able to pass down to your grandkids or something. Like I got our set of All-Clad pans when I got married 15 years ago. And sure, All-Clad might be expensive, but not really, because it's gonna last you your entire lifetime. And they actually end up being way cheaper than like that fancy Xtrema or Caraway set that only lasts like 3 years and costs almost the exact same amount. Cool. Number two, you have cast iron. So this is by far the most economical, the cheapest, but also the most long-lasting type of cookware. I bought my Lodge cast iron skillet for $30. That was 10 years ago. Looks exactly the same. You can make all cast iron relatively non-stick by seasoning them on the inside. And that's basically when you just coat it in a little bit of oil, bake it at a low heat for a few hours. You don't even have to scrub them after every use. Again, this is like marketing created by the non-stick people where they're like, oh, it's so difficult to clean. Cast iron, you literally rinse and wipe. That's really the best way to go. And number three, you have carbon steel. This pan retains heat super, super well. And it's very similar to cast iron, except it's much lighter and it really looks like stainless steel. Super non-toxic and it'll last forever. You can also season it just like you do with cast iron. Number four, you have ceramic nonstick. I just did a whole breakdown on this, but I don't trust them. Ceramic nonstick is a blanket term for being made with nanoparticles, either titanium dioxide nanoparticles or silicon dioxide nanoparticles. Titanium dioxide nanoparticles are proven to be toxic. That is just not even up for debate. And silicon dioxide has some dicey studies out there showing that they don't treat our insides very nicely. Essentially, anytime you ingest an engineered nanoparticle, whether it's a microplastic, whether it's titanium dioxide, it's not going to break down and it will wreak havoc on your internal organs. So whether or not the nanoparticles are toxic on their own, it's their small size and their insolubility that are really what the problem is. It's the same as microplastics. Big brands of this would be Caraway, Our Place, Green Pan, and shocking, not shocking, these pans don't last very long, and there have been lots of customer complaints of the nonstick coating coming off really easily. Why do you think that is? It's because you end up eating it. Gross. Number five, and Teflon, of course. Same deal, except it's actually worse. This is big brands like Xtrema, The Rock, all of that, and they're all made out of PFAS, and PFAS are the toxic forever chemical. The Teflon manufacturers used to say that this type of PFAS that's used to make Teflon was totally safe. But that's been proven false over and over again. And even though they still say that Teflon is safe, what they've never denied is that it will break off into tiny microplastics that you end up eating. And ingesting microplastics, again, whether or not they're made with toxic PFAS, is really bad for you. And so you should avoid it. There's lots of other wonderful kinds of cookware like re-tinned copper, enameled cast iron, lots of others. But for the sake of time, I will say a good rule of thumb is that if this material of cookware has been around for more than 100 years, then they're going to be a really good option for you to eat out of.